It is time to bring out the 4 great dragons of the digital worlds and dominate against your opponents with their legendary powers. Digimon fans, welcome back to a brand new video. As many of you guys who have requested, today we're going to be covering the 4 Great Dragons decks. And you might be asking, who are the 4 Great Dragons? Well, there is Magnadramon, Azulongmon, Megidramon, and Goldramon, which are all level 6 boss monsters of the deck. The core mechanic heavily relies on this one option card, which is the Trial of the 4 Great Dragons. By sending this card from your battle area to the trash, it lets you play one of the 4 Great Dragons from your hand without paying any memory cost at all. You also gain different advantages and effects depending on which dragon you choose to bring out, and then you want to cycle them one after another or over and over again with their undeletion effects, which lets you place a Trial of the 4 Great Dragons option from your hand to the battle area for free once again. And once you've gathered Magnadramon, Azulongmon, and Megidramon in the trash, you use Goldramon to deliver the final attack by returning all 3 of them back to the bottom of your deck and trash 2 of your opponent's security stack. Like always, I'll show you guys how it all works in the combo segment later, so let's jump straight into the deck profile first. Okay, to begin with the Digi-Egg cards, we got 4 copies of the Upamon. When attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or fewer security, you get to draw 1 card. I find myself being at 3 security a lot often with this deck anyways, because it's not really like an early game pressure type of deck. So Upamon is actually one of the better eggs in the end. Now, some of you guys may actually also consider Digimon as your other egg instead. I don't necessarily play 5, but Digimon can be the other 4 egg copies that you can be playing, because your turn once per turn, when you use an option card with 2 or more costs, you can get to draw a card. And this deck does play some fair amount of options that are 2 or cost more, but overall, once again, I just found myself more consistent with the Upamon overall compared to the Digimon anyways. So that's it for the eggs. Let's move into the rookies. First and foremost, we got the brand new Agumon from EX3. It has a very simple inheritable. Your turn once per turn, when you play a Digimon with 4 Great Dragons and its traits, or place a Trial of the 4 Great Dragons option in your battle area, you get to draw 1 card, which is always great. Drawing cards, finding more pieces. Then we got 4 copies of Patamon. The new Patamon from EX3. On play, reveals the top 4 card of your deck, adding yourself 1 yellow card with Angel and its traits and 1 card with 4 Great Dragon and its traits among them to your hand. Place the rest to the bottom deck in any order. Now, keep in mind, guys, once again, there's a lot of errata with this deck, and mainly it's with the Angel and the things that you can sort of search with. Angel actually includes Archangel, Holy Angel, all these different kind of keywords with Angel in them with its traits. Once again, I'll include a link to the errata page with the rulings with this all along in the description box down below, as well as the comments pinned, so you guys can read and understand. But yeah, Patamon is a really great searcher, which you do want to maximize 4 copies of for this deck. Now, I got a quick question for you guys. Have you subscribed to the channel yet? Well, if you haven't done so, be sure to do so right now. Also, turn on that notification bell, because we got lots of Digimon content and videos right here on the channel, and more to be coming. And you definitely want to stay tuned for that. And also, give this video a like, because I would really appreciate the support from all of you. But let's continue with our deck. And then for rounding up for the rookie lineup, I got 2 Pulsemons. Pulsemons is just a very good generic yellow card in general for a rookie being. It has a lot of versatility. Like I mentioned, I find myself often enough being around 3 security, and because of that, I can effectively play this card for 2 costs and draw a card, which is always very nice. And yeah, Pulsemon just gives a lot of value as a rookie, because there's not a whole lot of other good yellow rookies to really choose from. So that's it for the rookies. Let's move into our level 4s. 4 copies of Vigdramon. This one, when Digivolving, searches the top 4 cards of your deck, adding 1 yellow card with Dramon in its name and 1 card with 4 Great Dragons and its traits to your hand, and you place it to the bottom. It has a inheritable of your turn once per turn. When you play a Digimon with 4 Great Dragons and its traits, it gains Rush, which is super crucial and super needed with this inheritable, because it's just really good for this deck when you go and do your top end big mega level plays. Then we got 4 copies of Goldramon from EX3. Once again, very dedicated for this particular deck, and this one also searches. Different to Megidramon, it's on play instead. You reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, you add 1 yellow card with Angel, exactly very similar to Patamon, and also 1 card with 4 Great Dragons in its traits among them to your hand, and you place the rest at the bottom. Inheritable is exactly the same as Megidramon. Your turn once returned when you play a Digimon with 4 Great Dragons in its traits, it gains Rush. Once again, very crucial for the deck, which is why maximizing 4 copies of this Goldramon as well is just really important. To round off our level 4s, I have 1 Zephyrmon right here, simply because I like to go for hybrid for games sometimes. Very useful every now and then, which is always great. But not only that, it's also 1 to Digivolve on top of a level 4, so that you can actually cycle through more cards sometimes that you need to find more pieces, and it's just really good too there. But otherwise, hybrid for game is always good. That's it for level 4s. Let's talk about our level 5s. Got a brand new yellow version of Azulongmon right here. So he does quite a number of things. First and foremost is when Digivolving, if you don't have Trial of the 4 Great Dragons in play, you get to place one of them from your hand in the battle area. And that is basically for free, which is really good. Once per turn, while you have a Digimon with 4 Great Dragons in its traits in play, or Trial of the 4 Great Dragons option in your battle area, this Digimon gains Blocker. And then it has Inheritable during your opponent's turn. All of your Digimon with 4 Great Dragons in their traits gain Blocker. And that's really good, because then once again, when you go into your top end plays, it gives you a lot of value. You can set up yourself with big blockers on the board with these dragons, and Azulongmon is such a crucial and really good card for the deck. Next up, we got 4 copies of Azulongmon. Very similar to Azulongmon once again. When Digivolving, if you don't have Trial of the 4 Great Dragons, you get to place one from your hand for free. And your turn, once per turn, when you play a Digimon with 4 Great Dragons as traits, or place a Trial of the Great Dragons into your battle area, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. With its Inheritable, your turn once per turn, exactly the same as its secondary effect essentially. When you do play a Digimon with 4 Great Dragons in its traits, or Trial of the 4 Great Dragons in the battle area, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn as well. So really good for DP reduction, but mainly we play it for her when Digivolving, allowing us to play our crucial option for Great Trials of the 4 Great Dragon for free. It's just super good. That's it for our level 5s. Let's talk about our level 6s and our top end, which we are very heavy on that side, because it's really what this deck is all about, playing big dragons. So our first main one is actually 4 copies of Goldramon. Goldramon is very good because when Digivolving, you get to return 1 card with 4 Great Dragons in its traits from your trash back to your hand to cycle your pieces and cycle your combos and cycles your really important cards that you need to adapt to the situation. When attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets 6000 minus DP for the turn, which is really good. Then you may return 1 Magnadramon, 1 Azulongmon, and 1 Megidramon from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order to trash the top 2 cards of your opponent's security stack. He is like your game-winning combo with this secondary effect. Although it's very kind of difficult to pull off this final part of the effect, but when you do, you basically instant win the game very quickly with this card. But otherwise, he's very good for controlling the board as well. With its 6000 DP reduction is just super good, super strong. And yeah, pretty much your key core main boss Digimon of the deck. But he's not the only one, because we also have 3 copies of Magnadramon. Now, on play, all your opponent's Digimon gain security -1, and it's a blanket effect across, which is really important and really good, because it means anything that your opponent push out from the raising area, or if they play afterwards, all of them will be affected by the security -1. However, you play this card via the option card Trial of the Great Dragons, all of your opponent's Digimon gets minus security 2 instead, which makes it even stronger. Really great for countering big stack decks. This card is just super good to help you control the board, or stall for time in the early stages of the game, so that your deck thrive very greatly in the late game. And this is why it's really good. And then on deletion, if you don't have Trial of the 4 Great Dragons, you get to place one from your hand to the battle area. Next, we have Azulongmon right here. Also on play, you get to draw 2 cards. However, you've played it via the effect of Trial of the 4 Great Dragons, you get to gain 2 memory on top of it as well. Really great for early game plays. Gaining a bit more memory, drawing more cards, finding more pieces once again is always nice. And just like Magnadramon on deletion, if you don't have Trials of the 4 Great Dragons on your battle area, you get to place one from your hand for free. Next up, we have 2 copies of Megidramon. Now, first and foremost, this card is also treated as Chaos Gallantmon. However, it's not really important for this deck whatsoever because on play, you get to delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. If you played it via Trials of the 4 Great Dragons option, increase it to 6, basically increasing the level by maximum level by 1. And yeah, being able to pop something that's level 6 is always very nice, or lower, which is great. And then on deletion, exactly the same as Magnadramon and Azulongmon. If you don't have Trials of the 4 Great Dragons in your battle area, you get to place one for free from your hand, which is really, really nice. And then last but not least, to round off, we do have one Def X. Def X is just currently a really, really important staple card in the current meta. And I know not many of you guys are happy to see this card because it is pricey, it is hard to find, and but yeah, once again, guys, understand that Def X is just really crucial, especially if you want to take the deck to the next level to play it slightly more competitive. But otherwise, for you guys who are looking for more budget alternative options, don't worry, I got lots of different kind of alternative options, which I'll talk about later after the deck profile to showcase you guys, and you can easily swap any of those cards for the Def X instead. But anyways, Def X, you know, is just a super good card. That's it for all of our Digimon. Let's talk about our Tamers. We got 2 copies of TK. Memory Tamer, really efficient, really important. On play, we get to look at our security stack, revealing 1 card and adding it to our hand. If it's yellow, we get to recover 1. The only reason we really only play 2 copies of this card, despite having Memory Tamer is really important, is because we do play quite a handful of non-yellow cards, and it just feels really bad when you reveal something that is non-yellow and you need to force yourself to grab something that is non-yellow. You don't get to recover. That's basically the worst thing ever, and you don't want to see that happen too much or often, because sometimes TK can cause you to lose a game, for example, when you're getting security checked or whatnot. So yeah, keeping it low at 2 is really, really fine, because we do have a bit more Tamers that give us more memory providability right here, because we do play 3 copies of TK and Kari. Like I mentioned, in many situations when I'm playing games, I find myself being around 3 security most of the time anyways, being chipped away by my opponent. And this is when both TK and Kari come in real handy by giving you that extra 2 memory at the start of the turn, as long as your security is lower than your opponent's. And they do have a secondary effect where your turn, when one of your yellow Digimon attacks, you may suspend this Tamer to have one of your opponent's Digimon to minus 1000 DP for the turn, which comes in handy too. But yeah, they give you a lot of value with memory for sure. So that's it for all of our Tamers. Let's talk about our options. First and foremost, the option that we're talking about a lot. With all of our effects, we have 4 copies of the Trial of the 4 Great Dragons. Now main, you get to draw 1. Then you place this card in your battle area. For 8 cost, it is very efficient actually, because it lets you play your level 6s for free. But with its secondary effect of main delay, by trashing this card in the battle area, you get to play 1 Digimon card with 4 Great Dragons in its traits from your hand without paying the memory cost. However, the Digimon played via this effect cannot digivolve into a level 7, and at the end of your opponent's turn, you delete that Digimon. So you realize there's a lot of on-deletion effects from our Magnadramon, Azulongmon, and Megidramon, which actually helps and synergize very greatly. You want to keep a cycle of this card over and over again, which is why Goldramon is your resource recurring card and helps you continue these plays. And really important, you want to see this card as soon as possible in most cases, and I'll show you guys exactly how this all works in the combo segment when I teach you guys how to play this deck as well. But otherwise, once again, you have to maximize that 4 because you need to see this as soon as possible. This is your core main engine of the deck, and you need it to run, and you need it to make your plays and your big plays to apply pressure on the board once again. Then for removal, we got 2 Wyvern's Breath, really simple, minus 15,000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon. Security, just really good for defensive, just great general removal, which is 8 cost as well. And that's it. And then to round off for all of our options, we got 1 Reinforcing Memory Boost, just a really good generic yellow staple card that you want to be playing. Just really strong, and there's a really good reason why this card is down to 1. And yeah. Okay, that's it for the 50 card main deck. Now let's talk about a bunch of other cards that I actually play tested and considered having this in the final version of the deck as well. First and foremost, as another level 6, you can actually play Venusmon. Venusmon synergizes very nicely along with your Magnadramon, because you can really heavily control the board right here. You give your opponent's Digimon minus security 1, and then also during your opponent's turn, any Digimon that's affected by like security buffs or debuffs, they can't attack this Digimon and can't activate their when attacking and when digivolving effects, which is really, really strong. And yeah, like again, because we always try to cycle in our Magnadramons in the early stages of the game to be defensive and stall the game out, Venusmon takes it to a whole new level for even further control, which is super good. However, I didn't include this into the final version of the deck simply because I feel like it's really top end heavy already. The deck adding more level 6s is just gonna make it more difficult with consistency, and you're gonna very likely brick as well, because as you guys can see, we have a lot of level 6s already, so there's really not much room. Next, for another Magnadramon, we're bringing back the good old BT2 one. This one can actually be played via Trials of the Great Dragons, and it is a 4 Great Dragons. Now, on play, if you have 3 or fewer security, you can instantly recover 2 and to, give yourself a bit more defensive and bring yourself back into the game very quickly with this card, which is very nice. It does have a when attacking effect as well, letting you play a yellow level 3 Digimon card without paying its memory cost can come in handy, which is really nice. So yeah, you guys can definitely take one of in this in. However, it just doesn't have the on deletion synergy by bringing back more Trials of the Great Dragons after being played with it, which is why I didn't include it. But otherwise, it's a pretty neat tech. For some more tamers, we have Analog Youth. Analog Youth helps with searching. We don't play a whole lot of rookies in this deck, as you can see, and some of the big combos that we want to play with Goldramon requires you having the other 3-4 Great Dragons in your trash to even pull off. And this is where Analog Youth can give you a bit of value, because by trashing some of them, it can help set you up for that combo a little bit more easier. However, once again, I didn't really feel like this card was super important or super needed, but pretty good and pretty neat, and it does work a little bit as well sometimes. And then we also have Tai and Kari. Tai and Kari has a very similar concept to TK and Kari with their memory gaining effect. At the start of your turn, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, you gain 1 memory. If your opponent has 3 or fewer on their end, you also gain another memory. And gaining that memory is always very nice if you do meet that sort of requirements. And also your turn, when one of your red or yellow Digimon attacks, you can suspend them to minus 2000 DP to your opponent's security Digimon for the turn as well, which is pretty good to make sure that you can swing in safely, since you don't have a whole lot of strong DP with your Digimon here in this deck. But the main reason why I didn't include these guys is really because that, like I mentioned, I find myself most of the time have lower security than my opponent anyways. So the TK and Kari just gives so much more value in that kind of perspective. But swapping one of those for one of these guys with the Tai and Kari can be pretty good as well, just to adapt a little bit more in different situations too. Then for other more sort of removals, we have Godflame. Godflame just minus 6000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon for the turn. This is Goldramon's sort of signature move. Then you get to return 1 card with 4 Great Dragons as traits from your trash back to your hand. You can get the option, Trials of the 4 Great Dragons. You can grab any of your other dragons that you want to replay or whatnot. You can even grab Goldramon. And it's pretty neat. It's pretty efficient for 5 costs. However, I just want, explosive just removal with my defensive capabilities, which is why I stuck to Wyvern's Breath instead of this card. But otherwise, you guys can play this one as well if you don't want to be paying too much memory as either. Otherwise, we have the other one. We have the Loincate at a Stactyl right here. You can definitely substitute that for Wyvern's Breath as well if you don't want to play that. And also just a very good generic removal card, which you can even substitute for Defex right there. Okay, so that'll be it for all the cards that I want to talk about. And let's show you guys some of the how to play strategy with this deck and the combos that you can pull off, which are pretty cool too. So, of course, hatch your egg. Ideally, digivolving your Agumon is really your best priority because it provides the inheritable. In the early stages of the game, once again, you want to be playing your Patamon to search, play your Gatomon to search. And what you're really looking for is the option, Trial of the 4 Great Dragons. If you have that in your hand, then your second priority is to find these 4 Great Dragons from your deck and add them to your hand. And because by doing so, you want to establish your Trial of the 4 Great Dragons as soon as possible so you can start playing these guys. And Goldramon will always be your sort of stack Digivolver when you're trying to do your stack combo instead. That's what you will be really doing. And then, there's more options once your opponent passes the memory back to you. To continue your search, you can Digivolve into Megidramon to search for more. Or if you do have your Trials of the 4 Great Dragons ready, you can ideally then go into your 5s, either your Aero Vegemon or your Azulongmon, however way you kind of want to. to basically place this for free. Now, keep in mind that when you do place this, you don't really get the main draw one. Ideally, you don't really want to be paying too much memory to be playing this card, hard playing it for the 8 cost, because it does cost a lot. It'll give your opponent a lot of advantages. So once again, if ideally you want to use your Azulongmon and your Digimon to get this here for free so that you can set yourself up for the next turn, really. So let's just say your board state kind of looks like this, and your opponent passes back to you. You don't really need 3 memory, or you don't really require a whole lot of memory to pull off your combos. It's just really depending on how much you have, because ideally Trials of the 4 Great Dragons lets you play your level 6s for free anyways. So identify the situation, right? Once you're ready to go and you pop it off and you want to choose one of these guys that you can play. If you need more memory and you need to cycle more cards, then Azulongmon will be the way to go. If you need to pop something, you see a lot of something that your opponent has on the board that has a lot of value by removing it, like a level 5 or even a very crucial level 6 on their side, Megidramon is definitely the way to go. If not, if you see your opponent coming out getting ready to sort of do 1-stack combos, OTKU with a big turn, then Magnadramon is perfect to counter that. So again, you just got to know your matchups, know your sort of decision making based on what you're playing up against and what you need to counter and what you need to do. Also, always keep in mind that you do have your Digimon and your Goldramon inheritables ready to go to give them the rush, because when you do, you can then immediately swing with them. And there's really not too much to think about. You do want to just swing in to chip your opponents down, bring their security lower so you get the best value out of it, because at the end of your opponent's turn, these guys will get deleted. And the other really important thing is, this is why Goldramon comes in really important and handy, because you can be digivolving to your Goldramon, making sure that you get to cycle your Trials of the 4 Great Dragons back from your trash to your hand, so that when these guys get deleted, you have another one to be placing, so you can cycle and continue the combo over and over again, which is why it is really important. And by doing so, eventually these guys are going to be deleted in your trash. You want to stack up these 3 guys and have your Goldramon here ready to go. So once your Goldramon is ready to go, once you chipped away with these big guys, set your opponent's security down to 2 or lower, you can use your Goldramon eventually to swing into your opponent's security, returning the 3 of these back from your trash to your bottom of your deck in any order. You trash 2 of your opponent's security, and if your opponent has no more security left, Goldramon essentially swings in for game right there, which is really, really cool and really, really good as well. And not only that, Goldramon can also minus DP and do more things. There's a lot of controlling aspect with this yellow base of the version of the deck. It's just very, very nice. So this is basically like the core combos and how you want to be playing with the deck overall, and it's pretty simple. That'll wrap up for the video for today. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. For our next video, we'll be featuring Goldramon. So if you guys are fans of this Digimon and can't wait to see a deck profile for it, then be sure to subscribe right now and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is Avault, signing out.